Hello, my name is Matias Ricardes, and I will be making a book talk over a book called Red Scarf Girl. It's a memoir written by Zhili Jiang of her experiences as a child during the Chinese Cultural Revolution. The story is set to take place in Shanghai, China during the years 1966 to 1968. During this time, China was becoming a very oppressive country with very limited freedom. Imagine being prosecuted and treated unfairly, as well as having your dad go to jail for no reason at all, just because your dead grandfather was a rich landlord. That was a life Zhili had lived as a child. Everywhere she went, she had to live in constant terror that her family might get executed, tortured, or taken into prison because of a picture they hung up in the living or the family background they had years ago. During this time period in China, you could easily be executed for attempting to leave the country, not having a picture of Mao Zedong at home, having anything related to the Four Olds, or listening to foreign radio. These absurd laws prevented any sort of freedom or creativity. Mao Zedong was the leader of the Cultural Revolution, and he was considered a dictator as he had many ridiculous laws and ideas for a new China that ultimately would fail and in its process would leave many people killed, hurt, and mistreated. The education system had also changed drastically. Kids were taught from the start that they should worship Mao, and they should have more loyalty to Mao than anything else on earth. The idea that kids were manipulated at such a young age, and that Mao comes first, was pretty messed up. The kids who were manipulated into believing this grew to take part in the revolution without truly knowing what they were getting into or supporting. But the only thing they knew was that Mao was leading it, and they were taught that it was a good thing. This book was very educational, as we today are also seeing something similar with a country called North Korea. The reason we learn about history, though, is to learn about mistakes others have made in the past. It's good to educate ourselves, not to repeat the same mistakes again, because history can be relevant today in such things such as North Korea, where everyone is forced to be loyal to the Kims. And over there in North Korea, they have a very similar problem to there was in China. If we humans learn from what happens, then hopefully things like this do not happen again in the future. This is why it's very important to educate ourselves on history.